Good morning, beauties. I wanted to share some things that I've discovered working on myself and some other people close to me. Interesting things I have learned, not necessarily an easy and fun way. Nevertheless, I think they're very important and worth sharing. If you know anything about me, then you know that my life is pretty much about healing, personal healing, helping others heal, the subconscious primarily. But the subconscious is the portal between our conscious awareness and our soul self and higher self and on and on. And so if we have unhealed traumas, pain in our subconscious, then it clouds our connection and communication with our higher self. So I've made my life's work about learning how to clear and heal those traumas, those negative emotions, those wounds where we get stuck, programming and patterns that are subconscious that are running our life. But I have stumbled across some new information that I feel is valuable and worth sharing, because sometimes you come across a situation where all your bag of tricks and all your tools just don't work. And then it's time to think outside of the box and figure out what's going on here. So a lot of my work is healing and reintegrating our wounded inner child. We can have many inner children that need to be healed and then reintegrated back into the oneness of who we are as a person, as a whole being, as a soul. And often this can go into past lives as well, where we have wounds and traumas from past lives that those parts of us or aspects of us are still back in time, suffering and, have a hard time being a part of the wholeness of who we are. But what I've recently discovered is that not only do we have current life trauma and aspects of ourselves which are disconnected and dissociated, and past life selves which are disconnected and dissociated, we can also have parallel timelines, parallel realities, where aspects of our soul are experiencing trauma and we are being affected by not only the trauma that they're going through, because we feel like it's a part of us, but also it's a soul fractal. It's a part of our soul that is separate from us. So we feel that loneliness, we feel that heartache sometimes, and we're always looking to fill that, right, from other people, other relationships outside of ourselves, and it just doesn't usually work. And it may for a while, but then that loneliness may return. And if you feel a loneliness or an emptiness that you just can't figure out where it comes from, it may be because you're separate from these other aspects of your own soul. Now, why do we have soul fractals? Well, all of the universe is expressed as a fractal. Kabbalah teaches that God, Source, was complete within itself, but decided to separate into trillions of sparks of divine essence in order to reflect all of those experiences back to itself, to understand, know, and experience itself more fully. And so that's every blade of grass, every tree, every human is that spark of the divine essence. Now we as divine beings, made in the image of God, expressing and creating in a similar fashion, can separate ourselves out into multiple parts to experience life, have different experiences, learn different soul lessons, and gather up all those learnings and bring them back into the oneness of who we are. Because we know that as souls we evolve through multiple lifetimes. We're having different experiences. We're learning about love. We're learning about forgiveness. We're learning so many things beyond words even. But if we can separate our soul into multiple fractals, we can be having multiple experiences simultaneously and learning so much more through so many more experiences. And then we can gather up those learnings and experiences and bring them back into the wholeness, the oneness of who we are. However, we have trauma, and that can keep us stuck. When we're stuck in pain, we're stuck with negative emotions, we're stuck in trauma, and unable to heal that, then we're not able to reintegrate back into the one soul. So this can be experienced not only in this lifetime, past lives, we also have parallel realities. So I don't know if you ever saw the movie Sliding Doors, but that is like a movie form of expressing parallel realities. So she was living two timelines simultaneously with different experiences, but she could kind of feel at certain points, if there was something pivotal that happened to her in one timeline, she felt like that disturbance in the force in a different timeline. And so we have these soul fractals that maybe we had a nexus point in a lifetime, a point in time where something pivotal happened or a big decision had to be made. And all of these realities are occurring simultaneously. So there's one version of me sitting here talking to you, and there's another version of me maybe sitting over there talking to you in another parallel reality, and a version of me that's in a different relationship, or that's living in a different house, or that's living in a different country. I mean, there could be tens, hundreds, even thousands of parallel realities where I'm having different experiences simultaneously, and in some way it's all me experiencing it, so I am affected by and feel those experiences and those positive and negative feelings, depending on whether it's a positive or negative timeline. So sometimes we can have really traumatic experiences or lifetimes or timelines, and it can be really difficult for those soul fractals to reintegrate back into the whole because they're stuck. We may be stuck in the current reality too, and that's the work that I do with most people, is they're stuck in this life experience, and we go back into the past to heal those things, allow them to be connected and one within themselves in this reality. But it's just not always that simple. So when we're stuck in negative emotion, it's a way of our subconscious psyche soul protecting us because it hasn't figured out a better way to protect us. So I made up a little story to explain this. Imagine there's a boy who owns a cat, and the cat got hit by a car and killed. Now the boy is terrified to cross the road because he doesn't want to get hit by a car and killed. Now if he's always too afraid to cross the road, well, he'll never be hit by a car. But then he can never go anywhere. So the fear does serve a purpose. It is protecting him, but it's overkill. Now, if he learns that he can walk to a pedestrian crosswalk, wait for the little walking man sign to come on, and that he can then safely cross the road, he can trade the fear in for the learning or the wisdom. Because now he knows a safe way, another way, a more balanced way to protect himself without having to be stuck in fear. So when we're stuck, any of our soul aspects are stuck in trauma and pain, it's because they haven't been able to learn those soul lessons and let go of the negative emotion, which that part of them thinks it needs to protect them from this ever happening again. Okay? So I want to guide you through and experience a process where you can gather those soul learnings on an unconscious level. And in the process of gathering those learnings, seeing it from a higher perspective, you're able to let go of all of those negative emotions, whether it's fear, despair, anger, depression, whatever it is, in any parallel reality, because you're being affected by all of them. Even if my life right now may seem pretty good, and I just feel like these emotions that come from nowhere, and I don't know why I'm feeling, it may be because it's another aspect of my soul that's going through something really traumatic, and I'm connected to me in that reality, and I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that ripple, that disturbance in the force. So this process not only allows you to heal all of those soul fractals on all of those timelines, to let go of the negative emotions, then gather up the positives, because guess what? Some of those timelines are awesome and everything's going really well. And we can take advantage of that as well. We can gather those positive emotions, those abilities and those skills, and reintegrate them, and then bring those soul fractals back together within ourselves, because we are part of the oneness. And we do feel that longing for home, that longing to be one with all that is. But that starts by being one within and reintegrating those aspects of our soul which are experiencing other timelines and realities or lifetimes. Gathering up those learnings, letting go of the negative emotion, bringing them back together inside of ourselves so that we can feel that connection, that belonging, that oneness right within ourselves. So the loneliness and the emptiness can end. They say you have to love yourself first. And this is a tangible way to do that. To love all the aspects of yourself and reintegrate all of those parts of yourself. To feel that connection, that oneness, that joy. So I will include the link for the next video I'm just about to do to guide you through the process below. I hope that this made some sort of sense. It came out of simply necessity because all my tools were not working. And then the universe kept giving me this message from multiple sources. And I'm like, oh, this is what needs to happen, because the healing doesn't need to occur in this timeline. It's happening. The trauma is happening in another timeline. I had to find a way to help this person access that. So stay tuned for part 2.